never start off a video by singing a song again. Just kidding, I'm going to do it every time now. Wrestlemania was last night. I watched it. Girlfriend actually watched most of it. I want to go over every single thing, but I thought it was one of those middle-of-the-pack WrestleManias. It wasn't a bottom 5 worst, the top 5 best. The spectacle and grandeur of it all in the entire weekend was spectacular. NXT TakeOver Dallas as a show completely was better end-to-end than WrestleMania. I just want to talk about singular things in this show. I barely follow wrestling much anymore. I don't tune in until Royal Rumble comes around because I'm so down on the product right now. I only watch WrestleMania and tune in around Royal Rumble time and watch the Raws before that because it's just something I've been doing since I was a kid. I watch WrestleMania every year. And again, the whole spectacle of it all. I mean, they had the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders come out, guys. What a great spectacle that is. You want to hear my review of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders coming out? All right, let's review that first, starting off right off the bat. All right, here's my review of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders coming out at WrestleMania. All right, that concludes my review of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders coming out at WrestleMania. Well, shit on camera for you guys. I tell you, the heights I go to bring you quality entertainment. Find a better review of WrestleMania than that. As for the show itself, again, the way it ended is pretty much, since the ending was the worst, let's just go over the ending. But the ending is pretty much one of the reasons why people like me don't tune back in until Royal Rumble time and don't start following the storylines until then and ignore the product for the remainder of the year, for the rest of the 80% of the year. Everyone was bashing the end, like there was nothing good that came out of it, but I disagree completely. I thought that Mad Max trailer where that girl was sitting on the throne and she came up and gave the speech, it looks like this Mad Max is going to be based on what Mad Max Thunderdome was, because that girl had like a very Tina Turner-esque presence about her, so it looks like this new Mad Max movie is going to be heavily influenced by Beyond Thunderdome. And the guys marching out with the belts and they had the things in the mouth. And I was like, wow, this looks really cool. I can't wait to see this. Because the Mad Max Fury Road was so good. This is going to be even better, probably. It looked really good. And then the match happened. It was the worst match of the night. Worst match of the night. And it has nothing to do with hatred of Roman Reigns or anything like that. It was just a bad wrestling match between both men, Triple H and Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns gets to leave as the singular end-all moment of this pay-per-view in a year that he was summarily booed from arena to arena, even though he was booked as face, had Triple H in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania cutting scathing heel promos on the crowds in numerous cities, still getting cheered, and this obliviousness and this stubbornness to abandon something that WWE, and more specifically what Vince McMahon wants, in the face of what the audience wants and is willing to accept. Because this ain't Seth Rollins and this ain't Dean Ambrose, this is Roman Reigns, a guy who has not gotten himself over with the crowd on his own merit. He's only gotten over to the point that WWE wants him to get over and has been given his spot because it's just that. It's been given to him. He's had the John Cena 2.0 rocket shoved up his ass for no rhyme or reason, and he's going to be their boy. He is going to be their boy because he has a look that Vince likes. He sucks on the mic. He carries a decent enough match to at least warrant being in a main event here and there, but more so because of what his opponent can do with him or his opponent's ability. This is just a sad, pathetic state of affairs in WWE right now. I don't even care what happens on Raw tonight because, well, frankly, I'm going to be watching something else. There's a basketball game on tonight. I don't know if you've heard. But anyway, and why I don't care what happens in the future months, because I'm like, okay, if this is where WWE wants to go and they want to create John Cena 2.0, I'm out. I'm out because I don't care. Sorry. New dog hair dropped into my mouth from the sky. It's just such a stubbornness such a stubbornness that they're going to be like, we're going to keep trying with him. We're going to keep trying with him. Now, he may turn heel tonight or whatever, and then, you know what? If he turns heel, I hope the crowds cheer him. Just as a big, fat fuck you to Vince McMahon and the WWE booking ideology right now. Just awful. Just awful. Fuck Vince and fuck this company. But I'll tune in every year for WrestleMania. I love the spectacle of it all. It was great. And the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and all that. Oh, whoop-de-doo. And Rock with a flamethrower. Yeah, that's great and all. But just the spectacle of it and just the feeling, the aura, the reminiscent of WrestleManias. And it's something that I've been watching since I was a kid. It gets me in every year. So they got me. You got me, Vince. At least one time a year. As for the rest of the show, I'm going to cut right to the match that stole the night. The match between Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte absolutely stole this show. And it is just amazing, awe-inspiring, captivating how far the level of women's wrestling has come along. And I didn't think this match was going to suck coming into the night. I've seen all three girls wrestle numerous times, specifically in NXT, which is by far the better version of wrestling compared to WWE right now. It was just absolutely the best match of the night. Now, I know some people are going to say like the ladder match, but I have a hard time once you start getting 4 or more competitors in a match where it's not a tag team scenario. You have to grade it on a curve. And what I mean is that in that ladder match, the amount of resting the competitors can take is insurmountable. You have like the first half of the match where it's everyone, it's a free-for-all, they're all doing spot fest shit, and then you get into that second half where it's like 2 guys in the ring, 4 to 6 guys knocked out on the side and on the ground, recouping, and then you get high energy spot, and then another guy comes in, high energy spot, the next guy that was wrestling comes in, high energy spot, and I'm like, you can't really grade that as fairly comparative to a match where it's one-on-one or a tag team match, or even with Becky, Sasha, and Charlotte, where it was a 3-girl match. And yeah, there was rest spots where one of the girls was knocked out in the corner or outside, but very minimally, the wrestling action, the skill, the tactic tree. There is no way in hell that is a word. The definition would have to be using one's tactics tactically. Shit, I'm dumb sometimes. Anyway, it was just the match of the night. And I didn't think it was going to be match of the night coming in, but it did just that. I thought it was going to be a good match, and man, I really hope WWE starts focusing more on women's matches like this, instead of like those clusterfuck schmaz matches that you saw at the 4-on-4 at the beginning of the show. It's really time to really start putting a lot more time and attention to women's wrestling, because these girls are every bit as skilled, as experienced now, and frankly, better than what the men's product of wrestling is right now. And I'm sorry if you disagree, you gotta wonder if there's an ounce of sexism in that. Oh God, Archfiend's turning into a feminist. Shut the fuck up. Truth hurts. Anyway. Spot of the night absolutely goes to that insane bump that Shane McMahon took off the top of the Hell in a Cell, and I'll own up right now. I said there, going into this match when this was first name, I was like, look, people, Shane McMahon hasn't wrestled in the company for over 7 years. He's over 45 years old right now. Undertaker is nearing 50 right now. You're not going to see some insane bump or anything like that. And then I saw Monday Night Raw last week, and Shane McMahon jumping off the top rope into the table, dropping the elbow within a few feet of Undertaker. But let's forget that. It was an insane bump. And I was like, Shane's going to have to top that on WrestleMania. And top that he did. That son of a bitch jumped off the top of the Hell in a Cell and damaged a perfectly good airbag under the Spanish announce table. Now, I know I was tweeting about that. airbag or not aside, that was a phenomenal spot. An insane bump for Shane to take. An insane bump for someone who isn't even employed by WWE outside of this short-term contract, who isn't even employed, that doesn't really have any, family loyalty to the company right now because he's been off doing his own thing for years on end. That was amazing. And nothing but props to Shane McMahon for that. At his age and at his state of his life that isn't that involved in wrestling that much at all, nothing but props to him for that. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I just wish that they would have shot that at a different angle. Because, look, I would have said whether you saw that airbag padding under the Spanish announce table or not, that there was some sort of rigging under there to make sure Shane landed as safe as possible. It's kind of ironic that I had a slip there and I called him sane. Because... I would have said, the table was gimmicked in some way to ensure Shane's safety. But the angle they put at that back left corner of the table, I'm like, it just made it look so obviously faked. I know, Archfiend, it's all fake anyway. It's all scripted. Duh, didn't you get the memo? I get all that. But it took a little something away for me from the match. A little bit. And I mean a little bit. I was like, why would they shoot it at that angle? It didn't look as good as it could have been if it wasn't shot in a way that made it look so obviously phony. So, the one other criticism I had of that match was when, in the first 5-6 minutes, Undertaker gets Shane McMahon up for the last ride and drills him in the center of the ring, goes for a pin, and then Shane kicks out. I don't know how or why you would book that spot against a non-regular competitor. That's a spot that you use in, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels when it's 20 plus minutes into the match and you hit a grueling finisher like that, the Undertaker pulls out every ounce of energy he has left, it hits the last ride, and Shawn Michaels just barely kicks out with every ounce of strength he has left. But the first minutes of the match, and you have Shane McMahon, a non-wrestler, kicking out of a finisher of a main eventer? That's ridiculous. That's beyond ridiculous for fake-ass wrestling even. That's just fucking ridiculous. Shit, breaking shit down here. Other than that, great match. It exceeded my expectations, and thanks for coming back, if for just one match only, Shane. Everything else on the card was kind of just there. Just kind of there. The Rock coming out with a flamethrower and having a 6-second match in the Wyatts. Why do they not like the Wyatts? Why do they keep burying the Wyatts? Why? What did the Wyatts do? What did the Wyatts do to deserve this? Anyways, overall, it was more of a their show than it was just their type WrestleMania. Had every ounce of spectacle to it that any other WrestleManias had. The Jerry World just really packed the people in. It just looked ridiculous, the amount of spectacle with the big Dallas Cowboy star entrance ramp that if I was in that, I would fucking spit on it. Good thing I'm not a wrestler. I would have had to spit on it. It would have been very obvious. Anyways, it was just the middle of the road show. And the whole Roman Reigns thing, again, the company deserves what they get. If they want a main eventer that is booed at every arena that he goes to when he's booked as a face, and they want to be too stubborn to give, someone else who, again, if Seth Rollins was here, he'd probably be defending the title against a face Triple H or something at WrestleMania. Well, actually, no. It would still be Roman Reigns because Vince McMahon likes his look. And that's all that matters. He'll get over eventually. Just keep plugging along. Well, enjoy the show without me, guys. I'll tune back in when Royal Rumble rolls around. So, It's all the time I feel like dedicating to WrestleMania. Again, that women's match was great. Chris Jericho, AJ Styles match, I was expecting a little bit more out of. I have no problem with AJ taking the pin. AJ is still technically the new guy, though there is a fear in me that says like Vince is now going to bury him in SmackDown hell. Like he'll be feuding with like Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown, and that's like the highest you'll see him ever again in the company. But here's hoping that's not the case. Anyway, NXT TakeOver Dallas was amazing. I just wish they wouldn't have interrupted that Finn Balor Samoa Joe match so many times because Joe got busted open due to an air headbutt. Other than that, the show was great. The show was great from beginning to end. There wasn't really a terrible match on the entire NXT TakeOver Dallas show. Wish I could say the same for WrestleMania. Anyways, second half here, I want to go into Deadpool. I finally saw it. Me and the wife saw it. I knew it was going to be good going into it. I just had no idea how good I was going to see this movie as leaving the theater. That was, out of all the comic book movies I've seen and all the comic book movies I've seen that have introduced a singular character in one film, one dedicated film to him, that was the absolute best. That was the absolute best. That movie was... I feel like I must have somehow like slept and wrote the script myself and like mailed it in and they used it because like that was like from the songs used to the and minor spoilers. So if you don't want the movie spoiled, come back in next week when I make a video. To the ending credits where they spoofed one of my favorite films of all time, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, with what happens in the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off after the credits end. Like, I'm like, this was as close to a perfect movie as I could have ever expected. Like, it was that good. I was surprised it was that good. And it's not like I thought it was going to be a pile of shit going into it or anything. And it just like, whoa, it blew me away. Because I thought it was going to be awful. But it was that goddamn good. And like all the things I had criticisms about, like with like Gina Carano being cast as Angel Dust, I was like, oh god, a washed up MMA fighter. Like this is gonna be like the Fast and the Furious with the fuck, I had Gina Carano's name in my head. Oh my god, why am I drawing a total blank on the name of shit? The girl that's in Roadhouse now. Fuck. Holly Holm just beat her. I can remember Holly Holm beating. Why am I drawing a fucking blank on goddamn Diddly Doo's name? Anyways, Gina Carano was fine as Angel Dust, and her dialogue was kept to a minimum, and she was in there to fight a big fight with Colossus in the end, and Teenage Warhead was great. The one thing I really liked about Deadpool was the constant wall breaking of like when he goes to the Xavier school and he only sees Colossus and Teenage Warhead there. He's like, oh geez, it's kind of funny. I only see you two here. It's almost as if this movie couldn't afford to have any other X-Men in this film. And it's like, well, that's actually exactly what it is. Or that it was not that they couldn't afford it. They didn't want to spend the extra expense and involve it. And she's going to do a superhero jump here. She's going to do a superhero jump here. Just little things like that. Like, this was such a unique twist on this film. And the only minor criticism I had is I thought the ending of between Deadpool and Ajax was so obvious. When Deadpool was like, he's like, what's my name? And he's like, it doesn't fucking matter. He's about to shoot him. And then Colossus starts talking. He says, oh, no, wait. It only takes 4 acts. And the second Colossus starts talking, I'm like, Deadpool is, excuse me. God damn. Deadpool is just going to smoke this motherfucker in mid-sentence. And that's exactly what he did. It's like Colossus talking. He's like, and he shoots the guy. He's like, I'm sorry, you're just droning on and on. That was the only thing that I thought was blatantly obvious. That's the only minor criticism I have. Some of the jokes were kind of crammed in a bit too much. But all in all, the movie just, the flow of it was great. Everything was fine. The action and the R rating absolutely made this film so much better. And that's like one of the things where it's like, I love the character of Wolverine and all, but the fact that you don't see blood and body parts when he's using his Wolverine claws, that kind of takes away from the viciousness that he is supposed to be, in all honesty. It's time to get Wolverine and Deadpool in the same movie and have it have an R rating. Like, let's do this, Hollywood. Like, please. I'm glad they went the R-rated route, and they're absolutely going to do more based on the success that this Deadpool movie had. So anyways, I finally saw a Deadpool movie, and guys, it didn't let me down much at all, aside from Ajax getting whacked in mid-sentence that Colossus was talking. Other than that, I still can't fucking think of Ronda Rousey's name. There, I thought of it. How the fuck do I forget Ronda Rousey's name? Like, the biggest name in MMA in the past 3 years, I just drew a blank on Ronda Rousey. Anyway, that's the only two things I want to talk on. There's something else I want to talk about today, but frankly, that deserves a solo video on its own. I'm going to film that right now. Well, after I stop this video. Have a good day, guys. See you next week. Actually, no, you won't see me next week. I'm going to be out of state next week, so you might not see me until Tuesday instead of Monday. So, that's that. Bye. That is all. Fuck the Cowboys. And the Tar Heels.